Good morning, guys. In the previous class, I started this very important topic, that is optimizing IP for IoT. So here we have seen how we have modified our original TCP/IP protocol, and then we converted it into as a IoT protocol stack. Okay, so here physical layer it was there as it is, and data link layer was there as it is, and the network layer is also there, transport layer is also there. But in between data link layer and network layer, we have inserted one new layer, that is a adaptation layer. Okay, so particularly this adaptation layer, usually we call it as a 6LoWPAN. Okay, so first optimization is so conversion transition from 6LoWPAN to 6LO. It means that its next version is 6LO. So somewhat their upgradation is there, updation is there. Okay, so we call it as a optimization of IP protocol. Okay, so here this adaptation layer, whatever I am talking, that is nothing but here 6LoWPAN, and this 6LWPAN is mainly focused on optimization of constrained networks. And of course, then its next successor or its next version is also having the same aim, but the difference is it has a somewhat more focus on optimizing these constrained networks and purely IPv6 packets it wants or it wanted to transmit. So we can call these two as a working groups. 6LWPAN is also one working group. 6LO is also one working group. Okay. So these all things we have studied, and also we have studied header compression. How I can compress my header, and apart from header compression, how I can fragment my payload, and how I can do this mesh addressing. These all things we have studied, right? So it means that how we can reduce the size of our entire data frame with the help of header compression, fragment header, and mesh addressing. Okay, so then we have also seen uh, this one also we have seen, that is one more working group, that is a 6TISCH. You can call it as one more protocol. Okay, so which is for scheduling. Okay, particularly for time scheduling. So here it is called as a time division multiple access scheduling. So the full form of uh, this protocol 6TISCH is nothing but it is a time slotted channel hopping. Time slotted channel hopping, which is one extra add-on to our already existing MAC layer. And here we have seen some one more sub layer, or one more important element you can say, or one important sub layer you can say. It is a 6 top. Okay, 6 top is inserted here. Then we have seen some scheduling methods: static, neighbor to neighbor, remote monitoring and scheduling management, and hop by hop scheduling we have seen. Then we have seen also some forwarding models like track forwarding, fragment forwarding, and IPv6 forwarding. Okay, so these all things we have studied. So till now, whatever I repeated now, these are very very important for your exams. Okay, so they will ask you either 6LoWPAN to L6LO transition, or they may ask you about these scheduling methods and forwarding models. Mhm. So here, next, let me to go to next protocol, that is RPL protocol, which is expanded as routing protocol for low power and lossy networks. So once again here, our standard body or organization, IETF, Internet Engineering Task Force. Okay, so what it does, it hired or it has taken one working group or one protocol on a rent base. So that protocol was ROLL. What is that? Routing over low power and lossy network. Okay, so this IETF has taken help of this protocol. And why it has taken this protocol? To evaluate the layer 3 IP routing protocols. To evaluate the means, so already their IP3 IP protocols were there. Like, for example, IPv4, IPv6, and 6LWPAN, 6LO, so many IP versions of protocols are there, which is called as layer 3, because layer 1 is physical layer, layer 2 is a data link layer, layer 3 is a network layer. The network layer protocol is IP, and that IP protocol has its different forms like IPv4, IPv6, 6LWPAN, and 6LO, right? So like this, there are many forms of IP protocols are there. Those all protocols. So this IETF wanted to evaluate whether they have a capacity to do the work or not. So that is nothing but somewhat evaluation of these protocols. And also it wanted to determine the requirements of developing a routing solution for these all smart objects, IP smart objects. So here by studying these all existing use cases, the survey of existing protocols, now the people came to one decision that the existing protocols are not enough to do these tasks. That is nothing but evaluating the layer 3 protocols and getting to know the requirements of routing solution for IP smart object. The existing protocols are not enough to do these things, so we have to develop one new routing protocol, and that new routing protocol is completely focused on IP smart objects and constrained networks. It means constrained devices and constrained networks. So this new protocol is usually they called it as a distance vector routing protocol, and its actual name is IPv6 routing protocol for low power and lossy network. So which is a long form of RPL. Okay, so here how this RPL works, RPL protocol. In RPL network, it means that network which is using this routing protocol, every node will be treated as a router here. Okay, each and every node is treated as a router, and it will be that router will be the part of our mesh network. Okay, and this routing task will be performed in the layer IP, that is IP layer, that is nothing but network layer. Routing will be performed in the network layer or IP layer, and every node will find out, or it will check the received packet, and particularly that received packet will be IPv6 packet, and based on that packet's information, the information or the data which is contained in that packet, then this node will find out what will be the next node or what will be the next hop. Okay, so it means that once the node receives any packet, based on the received data of that packet, it will find out the next which will be the best router or best path to send this packet or to forward this packet. Okay, so here this information how it comes to know, because in a packet or datagram or data frame, so the already I told you there will be usually two parts, a header part and a data part. Okay, header part will give these all information to this packet or node, so which is a destination address, and how long it is, and how many hops should be covered. So these all details will be given by this IPv6 header. Okay, so here this RPL is using two modes here for storage. Okay, so those modes are storing mode and non-storing mode. So what is this storing mode and non-storing mode? It means that you just remember, in a network there is not a only source and destination, because there are huge number of participants are there. It means that huge number of different nodes are there, right? In storing mode, what happens, the whenever we use this routing process, it means that we have to create a path, and we have to help that source to send that data or message to the destination. So it is because of this routing table. It means the routing table will gives us the clear information about which is the shortest path, which is a safer path. Okay, so through what all the routers you have to reach that destination, these all informations will be present in this routing table. Okay, so this routing table, which is containing the entire details about the network, so will be available in each and every node. Okay, so it means that each and every node contains one copy of this routing table. With the help of this routing table, so every node will be keep on forwarding the packet to the next node, next router, next node, next router, until the destination will be reached. Okay, So then a non-storing mode. Non-storing, as its name itself is a non-storing mode is here. It means that here every node is not necessary to have this routing table. The only border routers will be containing this routing information. So if any node gets any packet, it just keep on forwards that packet up to its just border route. It means suppose that router is present in one particular region, that router will forward that packet not up to the destination which is remote. Okay, so that router will forward that packet till only the very closest router which is called as a border router, and these border routers are playing like our base station for a region or for a cell of our cellular network. Okay, and this border routers will be containing the complete details about this routing. That is, they contain the routing tables. So based on that routing table, then these border routers will keep on forwarding the packets further. Okay, so these are the two modes which will be used by our RPL protocol: storing mode and non-storing mode. Okay, so then RPL is based on the concept of DAG, that is a directed acyclic graph. So already I think you know this what is a directed cyclic graph, because you have studied graph theory, I think, right? So here this directed acyclic graph means, as its name itself is, it is a graph which is a directed. It means it has some arrow marks, and it is not only directed, it is acyclic also. Acyclic means what? So there will be no any cycle, there will be no any loop. So it is called as a directed graph where there is no any cycle. Okay, it means that, so if from any point in our graph, if we start our journey, we cannot go back to the same point with one edge. Okay, so that is called as cycle. Okay, but here there are no any cycles are there. Okay, so here one thing we should understand, that all edges in the graph are arranged in a path which are oriented toward the terminating at one or more root nodes. It means that here all edges, whatever you can see, these all edges will be in this direction, which are going to meet root nodes. Okay, so which want to meet root nodes. And remember, so there is no only single root node, there are more than one root nodes are there. Okay, it is not just like our binary tree or something. This is a directed acyclic graph. It is just graph, it is not a tree. Okay, so there is no single root node, there are multiple root nodes are there. Okay, so this figure is showing you, for your just understanding purpose, for your reference, this is showing you an example of a directed acyclic graph. So here 5 is there. Okay, for this node, which will be the root node, because it is directing towards 11, and 11 is going to 9, and after 9 there is no any outgoing edge here, so 9 will be the root node for 5. And it is not only the root node for 5, and 5 once reaches 11, that 11 will forward that packet to 2 also. So for 5, the root node may be 2, the root node may be 9, and the root node may be 10 also. So 5 has 3 root nodes now, right? So like this, for every node there are multiple number of root nodes are there. There is not a single root node, more than one root nodes are present in our directed acyclic graph. Okay, now we have to change this graph now, so that we should have only one root node. For that process, we have one more special type of graph, that is called as a destination oriented directed acyclic graph. Earlier it was only directed acyclic graph, now we are calling it as direct destination oriented. Okay, so this graph is called as DODAG. Okay, so this RPL, what it does, it constructs, it develops, it builds this graph, that is DODAG. Okay, so DODAG is a DAG. It means that it is also a direct acyclic graph, but what is the difference here? It has only one destination. It means it has only one root node. That is the main difference here. So our normal directed acyclic graph contains more than one root nodes. Our DODAG contains more than one root nodes. That is the difference. Okay. So here, whenever in our RPL protocol working, so there wherever if we reach the destination at a border router, and that border router is called as a DAG route. Okay, so just I want to show you one diagram so that you will understand better here. You can see this diagram. So left side diagram, you can call it as a directed acyclic graph. Okay, so for this node, so this may be the path to reach this node. Okay, and for this node, this is a root node, and for this node, again there is one more root node is there. This may be also a root node for this node, and for this node, root node is this one as well as this one, and for this one, root node is this one also. It means that this node, first node, has a 3 root nodes, and this one has a 2 root nodes, and this one has again 2 root nodes. Okay, so here what is going on here? A node is containing more than 2 root nodes here, or sorry, more than 1 root nodes. But here if you observe this destination oriented directed acyclic graph, this node has only one root node, but it may have 2 paths, but it will have only one root node. And if you start your journey from like this through this path also, it will have only one root node, that is same root node. And this node also has only one root node. This node also has only one root node. So this is called as a DODAG. First it will receive DAG, then it will convert it into DODAG. Okay, so who will convert it? RPL convert it. It means that basically RPL needs only DODAG, not DAG. So RPL will construct that DODAG. Okay, so then next topic is authentication and encryption on constrained nodes. So these are also very important because once this topic is also asked in your exam for 4 or 6 marks. Okay, so here again we are going to see some protocols and some working groups here. First one is ACE. What is this ACE? It is also one working group. Okay, so like our ROLL working group. So these all working groups are nothing but your protocols only. Okay, so like our ROLL, okay, authentication and authorization for constrained environments, that is ACE working group. Like our ROLL working group, our ACE working group is also given one task, because ROLL was also having one task. What was that task? Evaluating something, right? So that evaluation is again doing by this AC also, like our ROLL. And here particularly AC is evaluating what here? It means it is evaluating the applicability of our existing protocols for authorization purpose. Okay, these protocols are mainly used for authorization purpose or authentication purpose. These protocols are whether they are able to apply or what. It means whether we can apply these protocols to this or not. That applicability, it will be checked, and also it will check the suitability of those constrained environments, suitability of those protocols to use them in a constrained environments. So it means that ACE working group will check the applicability of these protocols as well as whether they are suitable to use them in a constrained environments or not. Okay, so this evaluation will be done by ACE, and mainly this ACE group working group, even though it is a protocol, it will take help of another protocol and it will focus on that protocol. That protocol is COAP. It will focus its work on COAP. COAP full form constrained application protocol. Constrained CO application A protocol, P constrained application protocol with a datagram transport layer security protocol. It means that DTLS. It means that ACE working group cannot work alone. Okay, so it takes work or help of these two protocols also, that is COAP and DTLS, and their main focus will be on these two protocols. So here the main this purpose of this ACE is it expects to produce the standardized solution for authentication and authorization. It means that it wants to authorize the packet or receiver or the sender. Okay, to make this authentication we need some protocols. So this AC working group is expecting, or it is trying to produce these type of protocols. What type of protocols? The protocols which are helping us in authentication and authorization. Okay, so and how to authorize these? So I think you know these some methods in HTTP, that is get method, put method, post method, delete, right? So by using these methods it will authenticate and authorize the sender or receiver. Okay, to produce or to develop the protocols for authentication and authorization, AC is trying, and these authentication and authorization will be done with some methods like get method, put method, post method, and delete method. Okay, so here these all are methods are authenticating the sender or receiver, and these resources, whatever the resources are there, these are identified by URL, or you can call it as URI, that is universal resource identifier. Okay, so here these are the about authentication and authorization, and particularly where it is constrained nodes. It means that the main purpose of ACE is to provide the security. Okay, so till now we were studying about network layer, no? So here we are going to provide the security like encryption, authentication, authorization. Okay, and particularly on which nodes? Constrained nodes or constrained networks. Next, one more working group is there which is called as a DICE, that is a DICE. Its full form is a DTLS in constrained environments. DTLS already I told you. DTLS means what here? DTLS is Datagram Transport Layer Security Protocol. It is a protocol. So this protocol, if you use in a constrained environments, so one more protocol is there, one more next upgradation is there, one more optimization is there. So it is not ACE, it is a DICE. Okay? In constrained environments like constrained networks, and all nodes are constrained nodes. Okay, so in constrained environments the security is provided by this protocol, that is DTLS as well as COAP. Okay, so here DTLS in these controlled environments, which is called as a DICE, this working group mainly focus on implementing this DTLS, Transport Layer Security Protocol. It means, as its name itself is a DICE, the D itself is expanding as a DTLS. It means that you should understand that the main focus of DICE is to use the DTLS. What is DTLS? Transport Layer Security Protocol. Okay, the first task of DICE is what here? It has to define one optimized DTLS profile. Optimized DTLS profile means, just now I told you, it wants to use, or it completely depends on DTLS. So first it will define or find out one DTLS profile or DTLS protocol, particularly for constrained nodes, and particularly that protocol is optimized, not normal or ordinary protocol. It is optimized DTLS. It means up to date, completely updated DTLS profile it wants for constrained nodes. First it will find out and it will define it. Then in addition to defining this, what it does, this DICE working group will consider, or it will look into applicability of this DTLS. Applicability of this DTLS. It means where all I can apply this, where all I can apply this to secure the multicast messages. unicast, broadcast, multicast messages are there, right? So it wants to provide the security to this type of messages. What type of messages? Multicast messages, because these messages are roaming anywhere like anything. So it wants to provide a security to these messages through this DTLS. Okay, and also it is not only considering or checking the applicability, it is also investigating how this DTLS will handshake with this constrained environments. It means that how how best it will be compatible with our constrained environments, how best it is suitable for our constrained environments. That will be also checked or tested by DICE. Okay, so these are about authentication and authorization. So here there are very beautiful and important concepts are there in this topic, which is a main topic, that is optimization for IoT. Optimize what we are optimizing here. Completely this module is focusing on IP. So this particularly this fourth topic is very important for your exam, that is optimizing IP for IoT. Here remember, here we have studied two working groups, 6LO WPAN and 6LO. Next again we studied these three very important functions of our L6LO WPAN, that is header compression and fragment header and mesh addressing. Okay, after that we have seen one more working group, that is 60SCH. Here mainly we have seen scheduling methods and forwarding modes or forwarding models. These forwarding models. Scheduling methods means static scheduling, neighbor to neighbor, remote monitoring and scheduling, hop by hop scheduling, and forwarding models are TF, 6F, that is a track forwarding, fragment forwarding, IPv6 forwarding. Very, very important concepts for your exam. And next one important, most of the times I used in this subject from the first module itself, RPL, and I was just keep on telling you this is a routing protocol, most popular and most commonly used, most dominant, most predominant protocol for routing purpose. I was keep on telling right now, just now we have studied it. RPL is a routing protocol for low power and lossy network. Actually, its a full form is a routing protocol for low power and lossy networks. Okay. So what it does, it takes the help of one more working group, that is ROLL. Okay. So how ROLL was evaluating something, here also this is evaluating the protocols. Okay, which protocols? The routing protocols, and also it is finding the requirements of this routing protocol and routing algorithm. Okay, what all the necessaries are there, what are the requirements are there for this routing algorithm or routing solution or routing protocol. Then after that there was one discussion and there was one survey among these all people who were using these all RPL. Whatever the already existing protocols were there, those already existing protocols were not enough. They were not enough for these all things whatever I told you. It means they wanted to provide routing, they want to evaluate the routing, right? So one particular separate protocol was necessary at that time. This RPL was developed for constrained networks. Then usually this protocol, people started to call it as a distance vector routing protocol. Then this protocol used two modes here, very important, these two modes, storing mode and the non-storing mode. It means exactly how this RPL works, I am telling you. It uses either storing mode or non-storing mode. In storing mode, what happens? Each and every node in our entire network contains a copy of routing table. Okay, so based on that, it will be keep on forwarding the packet further, forward, right, till it reaches the destination. But in non-storing mode, every node will not have the routing table. The only border routers will have those routing table, and the node, if it receives any packet, it just wants to, its aim is just it wants to forward the packet up to this border router. That's all. It's the responsibility is up to that one. Then that border router contains the entire routing table about the entire network, and it will keep on forwarding that packet to the next router, next node. Okay. Again, there may be some after some nodes. Again, there may be one border router. Again, that border router will keep on forwarding that to the next border router through some intermediate nodes. Like this, that packet will reach the destination. Okay. And this RPL mainly it is using or in a network, there are so many nodes will be there. So it is completely based on, it is the concept on directed cyclic graph, which doesn't contain any cycles or loops. Okay, but they have directed edges. One difference between this directed cyclic graph and destination oriented directed cyclic graph is DAG contains more than one root nodes, but DODAG contains only one root node. And who is constructing this DODAG? RPL is constructing. It wants only one root node. It means it wants only one destination, not multiple number of destinations to confuse it. So it will create this DODAG as per its requirement and need. Okay. So here these are the difference between DAG and DODAG. Okay. So if you observe here in DAG, there are multiple root nodes are there for every node, and in DODAG for every node there is only one root node is there. So next last topic is authentication and encryption on particularly which nodes or which networks? Constrained nodes. It means that how to provide security for our packets or data. So that may be encryption and authentication, authorization also we can do by using these two working groups, or we can call them as again there are also protocols. So those protocols are ACE. Okay. So here ACE uses the help of COAP, or it focuses on this COAP and DTLS. Then one more working group is that is a DICE, which is compulsorily mandatorily using DTLS. Okay. So these are about authentication and authorization and encryption on our constrained nodes or constrained environments or constrained networks. So this is about these all things. I wind up my class today here, and this topic completes here. Next topic onwards, Tejaswini madam will carry on these topics. So my part is completed here. Then I will wind up the class today here. You attend her classes also, because next modules are very important, because nowadays IoT projects are everywhere, and there some IoT devices are there, some sensors are there, right? So those all parts you will study in next fourth module and fifth module. So, for example, if you want to know that Arduino, these all things, you must attend her classes also, because she will cover those all things. Okay. Have a nice day, and uh, mm, I complete my part here. Okay. Next onwards, you attend Tejaswini madam's classes. Okay. Okay. You can leave the meeting now.
Sir, how about second assignment?
Second assignment, one I am again planning to give you test case only, or sorry, not test case, that is a case study. Still I am thinking about it. Let me to decide it and tell you till today evening. I think you have completed first assignment. Now
Yes, sir.
either I give you once again one case study only, or else I give some questions, one or two questions. Okay. On time you
Okay, sir.
submit once again. Hmm.
Thank you, sir.
And any questions? Anybody want to ask anything? Okay then, fine. You can leave the meeting now.